Star Wars Jedi Survivor is just around the corner, and the hype for the game is greater than ever. Just the other day, the entire trophy list was leaked online, revealing a ton of new details and gameplay elements. There are 54 to collect, with one of those being the elusive Platinum Trophy. Out of the remaining 53, 13 of them are related to the story, and of course, to avoid all spoilers, they will not be included in any way, shape, or form in this video. But there is still 40 more trophies that we can dive into, with the first being Han Solo, where you have to defeat 50 enemies under the effect of slow. From the gameplay we have seen so far, it looks like the Force Slow is now an ultimate ability, where you can do a massive AoE attack, slowing down a bunch of enemies at once. This is the first of many trophies that we will be able to passively unlock as we play through the game. Next, we have So Uncivilized, a little callback to when Obi-Wan used a blaster to take out General Grievous, and with that in mind, it's safe to say that this trophy relates to the new blaster stance we will be able to use in Jedi Survivor. To unlock it, we will have to defeat 10 enemies with shots using the point blank skill, which we will most likely be able to obtain via the blaster stance skill tree. You've Got a Friend requires you to direct your companions to assist in combat 10 times. As we know, we will be able to team up with both Merrin and Bo Dakuna, and who knows, maybe some other people along the way. The next trophy is Catch, and it requires you to hit 3 enemies with a single roller mine, and apparently we will find these on Kobo, as some creators who were able to play the game at the preview event said that these can be pretty dangerous and extremely useful in combat. They Never Saw It Coming requires you to strike an unaware enemy 20 times. Now this will most likely refer to attacking enemies whilst hanging off ledges or by air assassinating them at the start of a fight. It seems to be another easy trophy get that you will progressively work towards over the course of the game, but do remember to wait a few moments before taking out an unsuspecting enemy, because you might just be rewarded with some funny dialogue, especially from the B1 battle droids. I love the name for the next trophy, being This Is Canon. Of course, it's always a never-ending debate between what is canon and what is Legends, and the developers are clearly poking fun at that, and to get this one, we will have to push an enemy into the Shattered Moon mining cannon. Now I wonder what this could be relating to, because we know we will be visiting a moon base of sorts, so perhaps this could take place on that. Or maybe it's the giant beams that are shooting out into space on the planet Kobo. Either way, it's a really unique trophy nonetheless. I'm a Living Legend requires you to defeat all legendary adversaries. Now I'm sure this is going to function similar to the trophy in Fallen Order, where you have to take out the 4 legendary creatures. But this time round, it seems that they are going to up the ante, because one of these adversaries appears to be the Rancor. And from all reports, this boss fight is extremely difficult, so perhaps this is a trophy we will have to tackle post-story. I do hope there is like 10 or more of these encounters in the game, because the thought of exploring a cave or side area and being surprised with an epic boss fight is awesome, and that's something that made games like Elden Ring so great. Next up is the Get Down From There trophy, where you have to attack 20 lifted enemies. One of the new Force abilities Cal can do is raise enemies off the ground, so this is likely what we will have to do in order to obtain this trophy. Another combat related trophy is one with the Force, where we have to avoid 50 attacks using Focus Sight. Likely, this ability is found in the Force section of the skill tree, and appears to be some sort of evasive maneuver that Cal can perform to dodge incoming attacks. Mirror Match also utilizes a new Force ability, where you have to make a confused enemy defeat an enemy of the same type. We have seen the new Force Confusion ability in display, and so far it seems that we can only do it to creatures. So by having one of them fight against its own kind, you will be able to secure this trophy. The Pinpoint trophy is obtained by executing 10 perfectly timed precision releases. Now my best bet is that this refers to the new crossguard stance, where you can do an overhead throw of your lightsaber. It could be something completely different, but based on the wording, it seems that this has something to do with the projectile combat. So either a lightsaber throwing mechanic, or maybe even the new blaster stance. To get the Slam Dunk trophy, you have to slam 5 enemies with a single use of slam. I assume pairing this with the new Force Lift ability is going to be extremely overpowered, being able to group a bunch of enemies in the air and slamming them down to the ground in a single attack. I have to admit, the variety when it comes to combat looks crazy. We know Cal will start off the game with the abilities he had in Fallen Order, such as double jump, force pull and push, and of course Force Slow. But now they're adding a ton of new things that he can do, which only highlights how much stronger he has become as a Jedi Knight. Riposte cost requires you to parry a force pull resisting enemy. Likely, stronger and larger enemies will be immune to some of Cal's force powers, and will attack him when you try to pull them in using force pull. We saw a similar thing happen in the first game, with certain purge troopers and bounty hunters, so I think this is the sort of animation we will have to parry in order to get this trophy. Discovering and completing all Jedi chambers will net you the Star Tours trophy. They are the sort of puzzle rooms we will find scattered around the world, and we will be able to get different rewards and upgrades by completing them, as well as this trophy. To get King of the World, you will have to reach the highest point of Harvest Ridge. Best bet, this is going to be found in that giant area in the cloud seen here, and it begs the question, how high can we actually go? I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. I do love all the callbacks and references to the films, and "there is no try" of course is the famous words that Yoda said to Luke on Dagobah. And to get it, we will have to help lift the shop out of the tar pits. From what we have seen, this could definitely be this section here on Kobo, and we most likely have to help out this pit droid, and I'm assuming following this, we will unlock him as one of the vendors in game. And we will find many of these vendors and other interactable NPCs in Rambler's Reach as well as in Grease's Cantina. And the max capacity trophy requires us to have the cantina at, well, max capacity, likely by finding and helping out a bunch of NPCs throughout the game. We can also get the scuba diving trophy by filling the aquarium in the cantina. This confirms that we will be able to find various different fish and aquatic species throughout our travels and bring them back here to have on display, likely acting similar to how the terrarium seeds functioned in the first game. And speaking of the terrarium, it has had quite an upgrade, as we now have a rooftop garden to deck out in Jedi Survivor, and by finding space for a full garden, we will unlock the Growth Spurt trophy. A new feature in-game is the ability to tame and ride different mounts, and for the "now this isn't pod racing" trophy, we have to travel 500 meters while riding creatures. We know of two different species we can ride, being the Neko and the Belter, and I assume we will get this trophy pretty quickly, as navigating on the back of these creatures will be the fastest way to get around Kobo. We also have to drop our mount into the Great Unknown for the "they're probably fine" trophy. Now this is one that's a massive mystery and just has me very intrigued. Initially I was thinking that the Great Unknown could be a Sarlacc pit or something like that, but that's just a rogue theory. I'm very excited to see what this Great Unknown is and whether or not we will be able to find what's inside. Cal clearly has no problem sacrificing animals based off the last trophy, but it's gonna be okay, because all we want to know is, can you pet the Bogling? And the answer is yes, and by doing so you will earn another trophy. The cleaning up trophy is another mystery, as its description reads, "refresh the refresher." Honestly, I haven't the slightest clue what that could mean, but my best guess is that it's some sort of side mission. To get the Skywalker trophy, you have to keep your feet off the ground and off walls for 60 seconds. It's yet to be determined whether that means spending 60 seconds whilst flying on the back of a mount, or by floating in the air using the Force. Definitely an interesting trophy that we will have to wait and uncover.
It's a trap!
Is the name for the next trophy, where we have to explore the Fonarchy Caverns, and by the title, I'm assuming that there is something dangerous waiting for us inside. The Kaji Match trophy requires you to gain the attention of a mysterious stranger. We know Respawn love their mysterious strangers, so I'm looking forward to what they have in store for this one. Who Gives a Puck is arguably the best name for a trophy ever, and to unlock it, you have to obtain your first bounty, which is a massive gameplay reveal. We saw in the final trailer that Cal was holding a hologram of sorts, which looking back definitely could be a bounty puck. We saw them featured heavily in the Mandalorian series, and the thought of being able to accept different bounties and track down targets is epic, and hopefully that's something that we can do in Jedi Survivor. Next is Perks of the Job, where we have to equip perks in all slots. We haven't seen or heard much about the perk system, besides for that some of them can be unlocked via the Jedi Chamber puzzles. More likely than not, they will give bonuses to Cal's damage, health, and general combat mechanics. It's definitely leading towards the more action RPG style of game with these, but honestly, I'm all for it, and the more rewards we get for exploration, the better. By trading 25 collected items, we will get the Greasy Money trophy, so it appears that we might be able to swap and change the loot we find out in the open world for new items at different shops. I've got to say, that would be extremely cool, and just like I said before, it would make hunting hunting around for collectibles worth the time. Cobra Cal is the next trophy, obviously referring to Cobra Kai, and it requires you to train with your weapons while wearing a headband. So this confirms two things. One, Cal can wear a headband, and two, we will be able to train and possibly even upgrade our weapons. I'm thinking that this is probably similar to the meditation training from the first game, or the gauntlet-like arena that we have seen so far for Jedi Survivor. But look, the cosmetic trophies don't stop here, because in order to get the Roadhouse trophy, you must dropkick an enemy while wearing a mullet. And I mean, give Cal a handlebar mustache and a mullet and get out of his way. Next up is a presence I have not felt since, ... Obviously referring to Vader's iconic line from A New Hope, and it reads, "Wear an old wardrobe staple." And what could this mean? Well, there's only one correct answer.
Poncho.
I mean, it has to be, right? The only other thing it could be is some like OG High Republic Jedi robes, which would sort of be cool, but come on. Give us what we really want.
Poncho.
The person who made these trophy names should seriously get a raise, because next we have Hey, Luke at Us, where we have to equip a new cosmetic in every Cal slot. Pretty straightforward, but thankfully customization has got a major improvement since Fallen Order. And for the kitted out trophy, we have to customize BD1, the blaster, and Cal's lightsaber with new parts. The Gambler trophy requires us to win all Holotastics matches. I'm assuming this is some sort of minigame that we will be able to play, and I think that we will definitely be playing this inside of Grease's Cantina. I couldn't think of a better place to gamble away some priorite shards. Intergalactic Geographic requires us to scan every enemy. Another pretty straightforward trophy, and for reconnaissance, we have to use BD1 to investigate a target in the distance. We have seen this already, as we use his binocular vision to see a Trondo shell in the preview gameplay. For the Splurge trophy, we have to purchase all of Doma's merchandise. We know this is where we will be buying tons of cosmetic items for Cal. Next is the Jedi Path, and to obtain this one, we have to fully upgrade 3 skill trees. And with each lightsaber stance having their own skill trees, as well as Force and Survivals having their own sections, there will be plenty of skill points to go around. One possible way of getting skill points is by completing Force Tears, and by completing all of them, we will unlock the Blood, Sweat, and Tears trophy. So Jedi Survivor is literally just around the corner. And to save you the time, I just replayed Fallen Order and made this entire video dedicated to recapping the story. So make sure to check that one out so you're all up to date before the release of Jedi Survivor. And as always guys, take care.